What's up guys, it is Chris back with another watch video, and today we have Creux Automatiq on the channel. This is a brand that I've actually reviewed a few times here on Watch Chris, and as you guys might know, I really love Creux Automatiq. I think they're sort of like a micro independent brand. They make some really cool watches, and this is their new Ghost version 3 with a forged carbon fiber bezel. So getting right into it, this is a beautiful, large, lacquered box. It's a gray color. It's made out of wood, I think, and then sort of very heavily lacquered. Inside you have leather, a little strap changing tool here. That's because there's a little strap changing sort of system on this watch. It has little screws, so you have to have a special tool for that, and that is that tool right there. Warranty information, also information on the manufacturer of this watch, because this is a Swiss-made watch. So they give you a little certificate right there. And then, of course, you get the Ghost. Now, everything is gray colored because of the theme of the Ghost, and you get a gray watch. Now, this is in titanium, but they actually coat the titanium in a gray color. This gets that forged ceramic, carbon bezel, as I mentioned, and then of course there are screws that hold that in. Those are in the same color as the actual case itself, in that titanium. You get crown protectors, very substantial crown protectors, as you can see, and then a screwed in crown which is made out of titanium as well. Sapphire crystal, which is flat, a lot of depth to that dial, and there is really no dial here. It's sort of like a skeletonized dial and then a skeletonized movement underneath that. The dial itself is just sort of a minute track and then a little bit of something like a loop that comes out on either side that holds that second track right there, which is just a spinning ring that shows the seconds. I'll do close-ups of all of this. And then on the glass itself is printed the actual logo on the underside. And then there where it says seconds and it's pointing to that little seconds track, really cool. There's a lot of different elements to the dial, a lot of different layers. There's black, there's gray. They've coated the movement itself in different colors, and they're all tones of gray. It looks really good, and it must be very expensive to do. The movement in here is made by Swiss Tech, so it is a Swiss-made automatic movement. That's the CAS24-SK8, and as you can see, it is visible through the back of the case back there. Of course, as I mentioned, sapphire crystal. And there's a lot of depth on this side of the watch as well. Skeletonized rotor, and then again you have all of those different colors, those tones of gray, black, and a little bit of gold as well. Screwed in case back, 100 meters water resistance. The case back is actually brushed in that titanium, and it is that gray color as well. The entire case is sort of bead blasted. Then there's these little holes right here. That's for changing the strap. The strap on here is very substantial and very well made. This is the leather rubber combination. Stitching on that leather, it's sort of a contrast white gray color, and then perforated leather on the strap itself. This buckle is just awesome. It is so substantial. I love the buckle that they do. Of course, deeply etched with the Creux Automatiq logo there. And it sounds so good. And it feels so good. It's a very substantial buckle. It's very well made. And I could do that all day long. And it's just a really nice little detail that a lot of brands sort of overlook, especially even at this price point. I think a lot of brands overlook how important it is for that buckle to feel substantial and feel expensive, and this one does. 45 millimeter case, 50 millimeter lug to lug, 12.9 millimeters thick. That's including the sapphire crystal, which is flat. It's not really sitting up any higher than that forged carbon bezel. Not a thick watch, pretty thin actually, considering, and it actually wears very comfortably because the strap actually does form down to the case, as you can see. So it's not a very large wingspan on this watch, even though it's 45 millimeters plus those big crown guards, and it's a 50 millimeter lug width. The actual strap forms and fits directly into the case. As I mentioned, you use screws to unscrew the actual strap there. So it fits into the case. There's really no lugs, and it fits sort of directly into where lugs would have been. Just a really cool watch. I am always mesmerized by skeletonized watches that are done right. A skeletonized watch could end up looking cheap if it's not done right, and they did this right, and it looks really good. A lot of that goes with the finishing on the movement. If you use shiny elements that are silver toned, it ends up looking cheap, and there's no way around it. It just sometimes looks on the cheap side. When they make it a bead blasted or matte finish on the movement, it costs more money. It's a lot harder to do because they're taking a movement that exists, and then they have to then make it bead blasted and change the colors of actual components. That takes time, that takes money, so it's a lot more expensive. Speaking of price, this is $3,200, and I think that is a very, very good price for what you're getting. Titanium case, forged carbon bezel, an in-house, this is proprietary to Creux Automatiq. This is made by Swiss Tech. However, it is proprietary to them. It is not made for any other watch movements or watch brands, excuse me. So this is just made for Creux Automatiq. So it's sort of an in-house movement. And it's a modern movement. I'll show, as I mentioned, close-ups of the movement. You'll see that. Very, very interesting watch for $3,200. And then they also offer like 10% off, I believe, on this watch. If you sign up for their mailing list. Obviously, you should do that if you are buying one or considering buying one to get 10% off. So that brings this below $3,000. That is an incredible price for a very substantial, very well-made, independent brand watch. I think that's really, really cool. I would compare this to a Lynn Verdelin, which is at least double the price, and it gets an ETA movement or a Sellita movement. This gets a way more interesting movement, and it gets a skeletonized movement as well. And it's in titanium. That's a stainless steel version from Lynn Verdelin, would be around $6,000 or $7,000. Obviously, this is inspired by AP and their skeletonized movements, but they definitely have their own design language, their own design DNA, and that's why I really like this brand. I think they do a really good job. The other strap that you can get this on is their rubber strap, and they actually included that just so you guys can see it. And that was what was on, this is what was on the previous Ghost version that I reviewed. I really liked it then. I think it's a very comfortable strap, and I think it's really good looking. Very quickly, let me show you what I have on my wrist, and then we will do a quick loom shot and then wrap up the video. Today, I am wearing the Diamondback by Creux Automatiq. This is on the amazing bracelet, and this really makes me want the Ghost to be on a bracelet as well. I think this would be a really cool watch on a bracelet, maybe a titanium bracelet. Doesn't need to look like this bracelet because this is kind of its own look. It looks like a Vacheron 222 bracelet. Even has that little flip lock on it, just like a 222. But the case, obviously, as I mentioned, they have their own design DNA, and you can see the similarities between these two cases. The crown protectors, the crown, the case itself, very angular, just like the Ghost. Just a really cool watch. Again, this gets an automatic Swiss Tech movement, proprietary to Creux Automatiq. Very, very nice watch. It's around $1,800 on that bracelet. It also gets a pretty incredible rubber strap if you like rubber straps. Really, really nice. Here is the Ghost on my 7.5-inch wrist, and as I mentioned, because of that lug system and the way it actually works, it tapers down really, really nicely. It wears really nicely and very comfortably on the wrist. 45 millimeters, not a problem for my wrist. I have a 7.5-inch wrist, as I mentioned. Crown guards, a little bit bigger than that 45 millimeters, I guess. However, that 50 millimeter lug width, not that big for a 45 millimeter watch. And then because of that lugless system, it does wear very, very comfortably. 12.9 millimeters thick, so looks really good as well. I don't think the lume on these watches are all that incredible, but let's check it out and then wrap up the video. So there it is. The lume isn't incredible on here, but what is lumed is pretty bright. So they put a good amount of superluminova on all of the indices that are lumed, and then the hands obviously are lumed as well. I didn't mention that this does have a date. It does have a date, and it's actually skeletonized. I'll do a photo of that or a video of that right now so you guys can see it. It's actually really cool. Normally, I don't like a date on my watch, especially a watch like this. I don't think you need it when it's skeletonized, but they actually add a date. It's at the 6 o'clock position, and it is a skeletonized date. So it's sort of the numbers are cut out and then they show up on a background, but it's like a gray on black color. So it's almost something that is very, very under the radar. You won't know it's there unless you're looking for it. It's not incredibly legible, but I like how they do it. They include it as a little bit of a visual as well, because the date is all the way around in that skeletonized sort of cutout numbers. It looks really good, and it's there if you need it. And it's not incredibly legible, as I mentioned, because of the colors, but on a skeletonized watch, having a date is something that is kind of an added bonus, and it's very, very hard to do. And they did it, and they made it look good. So that's not a bad thing at all, if you're asking me. But tell me what you think of this watch in the comments below. I find it very interesting. I think it's a really good looking watch, really well made. I really like the design language of Creux Automatiq. I think they make a pretty incredible watch, especially considering the price. But tell me what you think in the comments below. I really want to hear from you guys. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon. It's super helpful and very important for the channel. It helps support the channel, and I very much appreciate it. Please follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is WatchChrisBlog. I have some links in the description. Those links are to Amazon. If you click those links and buy anything, it helps support the channel. It doesn't cost you anything extra. However, I very much appreciate it. Anyway, thank you for logging on. I'll catch you guys in the next video.